Shabbat Shalom, everybody. This is the Devar Torah for portion Re'eh that is read on Saturday, August 15th, Deuteronomy chapter 11, verse 26 to chapter 16, verse 17. So Moses, continuing to address the Israelites, tells them that, quote, see Re'eh, that today I set before you blessing and curse. This will depend on whether the Israelites follow the commandments or not. Ultimately, he will place some of the tribes on Mount Gerizim to pronounce the blessings, and the others on Mount Ebal to pronounce the curses. This as they prepare to cross the Jordan. So chapter 12 opens up with more laws and rules. Here he is admonishing the Israelites to destroy all sites, altars, posts, etc., that are signs of pagan worship of the Canaanite peoples in the land. He is also warning them not to emulate those practices in worshiping Hashem. He tells them God will set a place, as yet unnamed and unidentified, where they will perform sacrifices. It will be only at this place and no other. There they will offer up their firstborn of their flocks and herds, and Moses alludes to the rejoicing they will do during the festivals with all members of their families. Moses tells them that God says that they can, however, eat meat anywhere in the land as a regular meal. Moses says that they can slaughter their animals to prepare for those meals. Now, it was also commanded that the blood was to be drained completely. It was from that commandment that the method of slaughter of shchita, that's the slitting of the throat, the ritual slaughter, was decided, and that it was the most humane way of preparing the animal for food. This was different than using the animals for sacrifices, which would still need to be done at that special site. The Israelites could either bring the animals with them or sell them at their home and then buy another animal when they arrive. Again, Moses warns the Israelites not to follow the pagan ways of the Canaanite tribes that they are about to dispossess. Chapter 13 opens with the warning to observe the commandments as they are, and neither to add nor subtract in any way to them. He then talks about false prophets. They will try and entice them to follow their ways different from Torah. These people are a test from God if they really love him. They are to be put to death any false prophet or a dream diviner. This is true even for any relatives. They are not to favor them because they are related, but carry out capital punishment by stoning. This is also true if they hear of any such false prophets in other towns, but they are to go out and investigate thoroughly. If the whole town is following, then the whole town's inhabitants are to be put to the sword. Do not hesitate, but carry out that judgment. Chapter 14 states that they are children of the Lord their God. They are not to make marks in their skin or shave their heads as mourning rituals or to honor the dead. Moses then reviews the laws of kashrut. He lists the animals which they can eat, animals with true hoofs that which are cleft in two and true their cuts. They may eat fish that have fin and scales. They may eat any pure bird, but not birds of prey. They may not eat any kosher animal that has died on its own. Finally, we have the commandment not to boil a kid in its mother's milk. Next is the practice of setting aside a tenth or tithe each year of all their yield. This is brought again to the place that God will designate. They will also share their portions with the Levites, who have no portion of their own. The Levites serve God on their behalf and are dependent on their bounty. They are also to be generous with the widow, stranger, and fatherless or orphan. Chapter 15 talks about remission of debts. They should lend money to their fellow who is having a tough time and not demand interest. This is an act of tzedakah or charity. They can, however, charge interest to foreigners as a business deal. They should not think that the seventh or sabbatical year is coming soon and will lose the opportunity to get repaid and thus not lend the money. As they do for their fellow, God will do for them. God will reward their generosity. They are also to help their kinsmen. If someone is struggling financially and needs to sell themselves into the venture at the end of their term, the 7 years, at the 7-year cycle, They are to be released with enough supplies to start their lives over. They are also to consecrate their firstborn of their herd and flocks and eat it with their family whenever they want. Chapter 16 concludes the Parsha by talking about the 3 pilgrimage festivals. It starts out discussing the month of Aviv, now known as Nisan, for a Passover sacrifice. They are also to eat the sacrifice along with unleavened bread, the matzah, for 8 days. They are to destroy or burn anything leavened the afternoon before. This is also to be eaten at a place to be designated. They are to count 7 weeks to when they will harvest the first grain. This is the Feast of Weeks, the Shavuot, and involves a free will offering. When the fall harvest comes, this is the Feast of Booths, or Sukkot. It is for 7 days, and everyone is to come with an offering.